Let the summer silly season trade rumors begin as the Flames are connected to one of the top younger players in the league.
You're Locked On Flames, your daily podcast on the Calgary Flames. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Locked On Flames. As always, I am your host, Jess Belmosto, and thank you so much for joining me today. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Today, we are going to be diving into the reports of the Flames reportedly being interested in Trevor Zegras and what that could look like, what a trade could look like, and why they might explore that path and why they should versus why they shouldn't. And make sure you subscribe to Locked On Flames wherever you're getting your podcasts. We are here for you Monday through Friday, 5 days a week, your team every day. So there have been a lot of reports floating around this week, really involving the Flames. There's been two. Obviously, Jacob Markstrom, did the Devils potentially again. We'll see how that goes. And Trevor Zegras. Now, this is coming from the fourth period. So, things are either very close, like, you need more than just them reporting in order for it to be legitimate. But let's just explore this, okay? Let us just explore this. I'm confused. I am very confused as to what Anaheim's plan is because they traded Jamie Drysdale, who I understand. Obviously, he was a big part of that young group that they had just recently drafted. Was dealing with some tough injuries and has kind of struggled to find his footing, and then he gets traded, and everyone is kind of scratching their head, but they're like, okay, like don't sweat it, like this doesn't mean anything. And this is another situation where we're hearing that Trevor Zegras could potentially be on the trading block. We're hearing the Flames, we're hearing Montreal, I think the Bruins even. So, there's a lot of different reasons why, like, this could be something versus this is just a nothing burger. But we know what the Flames need. We know the Flames need centers. And what is Trevor Zegras? He is a center. It's something they should be exploring. I mean, it'd be dumb to not explore all of your options. It would be negligent and just silly not to. So I'm pulling up his hockey reference page here. He has played just over 200 games with 211 in the last 4 years. He played, obviously plays for the Ducks. He got drafted in 2019, that draft. So he was, let me make sure that is correct. Yes. Okay. Yes, 2019 entry draft. So he kind of started out like getting the short end of the stick because obviously you make your debut and all that fun stuff, but then you get slammed with a pandemic and kind of unfortunate injuries and shortened seasons. And in 2021, the 2021-2022 season, he did have 61 points in 75 games. And that was that was the season that they came back, right? With the full, that was the full 82 game season. And then 2022-2023, he played 81 of the 82 games with career high 65 points. So we know that he can score. We know that he is able to put up points. He can get the job done. And this last year he was coming back from, I believe it was either a shoulder or ankle injury. I feel like he's had both, like, off and on his entire NHL career. He played just 31 games and had 15 points. So, uh, do with that what you will. I mean, it's truly hard to get a top like, a real sample size, just out of 31 games when you're coming back from an injury. You're not really able to give your best performance, but he does have a decent shot percentage as well. The 2022 and 2021-22 and the 2022-23 season, north of 12. That's great. You obviously you really like seeing that. What do the Flames need? Someone who isn't allergic to shooting. I think that this is going to come at a very expensive cost, and I don't know if this is something that the Flames would want to pursue seriously. But on the other hand, why wouldn't you, right? This team thinks that they can be truly competitive again within 3 years. Okay, Trevor Zegras, I mean, that would help, but only if he's staying healthy. And there's just a number of reasons why this could be good, or it could just be a disaster. And the Ducks are looking for some veteran forward depth presence. So the Flames do have a bit to offer there if they should come calling. But coming up next, we're going to talk about why the Flames should explore this, because I mean, at this point, you do have things to lose, but you have to be in on everything. Otherwise, you're going to miss out on something. And we will be back right after this. If you are into going to sporting events, comedy events, theater, concerts, anything, I have the perfect app for you. Game Time it makes getting tickets to games so much easier and so much faster and cheaper than anywhere else I have found. Game Time, I used Game Time to get tickets to the Red Sox Yankees next week. I'm so excited for that game, even though the Red Sox are probably going to lose. Game Time makes getting NBA final tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down closer. It gets to tip off. And I love Game Time because you can see the view from your seats. And it's all in pricing. There's no silly little fees added on at the end. What you see is what you get. You can save up to 60% off buying last minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose your seats. It's the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA Finals tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me today on this Friday edition of Locked On Flames. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcast so you never miss a show. This is something that, it's very much like an angel and a devil sitting on your shoulder. Like, Flames should do this versus, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Like, it's a bad idea. No, it's a really good idea. And I'm here to be the devil and the angel for you. Because let's be honest, Trevor Zegras has not had the opportunity to shine like he was projected to do. And obviously stuff like this takes time. Obviously, like I mentioned before, this is something that he kind of got the short end of the stick when it came to coming into the league. And good news is the Flames are a really good place to turn to like refurbish and just more reclamation projects. Like they love just fixing up players. It's like a secondhand store or something. I don't know. That sounds a little disrespectful, but I mean it with all the love in my heart. Why should they trade for Trevor Zegras? Okay. Well, number one, he's a young top center. He has team control. What did I say? Like, I think it was Wednesday's episode. It was Wednesday's episode. I'm talking about needing young center depth, needing young forward depth, literally needing any player that has team control. And obviously, like, Trevor Zegras, I don't think has really hit his peak. I think that there's still much to be desired there. And the Flames have solid wingers that they could put him on a line with to get that offense going and to be like, oh, he really is an 80 point, 90 point, maybe even 100-point player. You never know. Like, I know that they've been flirting with Zari at center. Obviously, you have Kuzmenko, Zari, Kadri, Backlund, or really Zari or Kadri in the second, and then you have Backlund and then Kevin Rooney. You have Kevin Rooney signed for I think 2 more years, so you're not just gonna boot him out of the lineup. I don't think that he's again one of those solid veteran presence that has really established himself in Calgary, and it's great. But you could do some finagling. You absolutely could. I mean, maybe you trade Kuzmenko because he only has a year left, and he's 27, 28 years old. Goodbye. Out with the old and in with the new, so to speak. And I don't think Anaheim really had like the veteran players that you need to get a player ready and set up for success. If you listen to 32 Thoughts on Friday, Jeff Merrick talked about Macklin Celebrini maybe playing at BU for another year because San Jose doesn't have really veteran forwards that can, protect Celebrini, that Celebrini can play off of. It's a very young group. It's not like that in Calgary. It's very much like that in Anaheim. Frank Vetrano's, I'm sure I'm forgetting someone, and I apologize, but if Frank Vetrano is one of your oldest forwards, you're not. I don't know. That's an interesting position to be in, I suppose. But again, the Flames need a bona fide center. Okay. This is someone that is blossoming. They just need the right pieces around him. You need a center, a young center. And this is probably the best one on the market that you could realistically afford and that it makes sense to bring in to the organization. Anaheim's looking for veteran forwards to bring in. You know who I think there are some upcoming pending UFAs the Flames could very well move to Anaheim. Andrew Mangiapane. 28, he'll be 29 in April, and he is going to want a raise. He's going to want an extension. I don't think he'll want an extension in Calgary, to be entirely honest. He's going to be a piece that is flipped. Great. Again, out with the old, in with the new. If Sharangovich. I think the Flames should consider re-signing him. Not very long term, but something. I say Sharangovich doesn't. Great, you can go to Anaheim. Kuzmenko, same thing. There is a world where this could work. However, I don't know about the roster players and what a trade package could look like. I talk a lot about this on this show and on Twitter. I'm horrible at trade packages because I either severely overvalue or undervalue players. And I think that that's disrespectful to everyone involved. But the Flames need this young talent. This is something we have talked about. I did a video on it probably last month. I did an episode where, I talk about how the Flames are going to need to acquire talent through the draft and through trades, because I'm sorry, right now there really isn't much of an attractive reason to come to Calgary. And that stinks and it hurts to say, because 2 seasons ago we were having a very, very different conversation. And I think that obviously a name like Trevor Zegras, it draws fans, it puts butts in the seats. I think that it would be interesting, say the Flames do end up drafting a Ginla. Those are 2 names right there that new names, I should say, that, you want. Oh, Jerome McGinley's kid. Oh, that Trevor Zegras kid. Okay, like I'd want to go see him. You have to, unfortunately, think of it that way as well, as what's going to put butts in the seat. What is going to make revenue? What is going to drive people to come to the Saddle Dome? It's very, it is as attractive of a situation as it is just as unattractive. And we're going to talk about that coming up next, because I have a lot of feelings here, and I think that this could potentially turn into another Kachuk situation. But coming up next, we'll dive all into that, but we will be taking a quick short break and we'll be right back. Policygenius is the place you need to visit if you are looking for life insurance. A lot of life is unpredictable, but a good life insurance plan gives you and your family a financial safety net to protect against some of the unknowns. I think that life insurance and Policygenius are great resources, because you truly never know when life might happen. And unfortunately, people get sick. They call it unprecedented for reasons. And Policygenius helps you get coverage easy and compare your options from America's top insurers in just a few clicks. Your work life insurance policy might not offer enough protection for your family's needs. Even worse, it may not come with you if you leave your job. Policygenius has no incentive to recommend one insurer over the other, so you can trust their guidance. They have thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot from customers who found the best fit for their needs. Get peace of mind by finding the right life insurance with Policygenius. Head to policygenius.com or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quote and see how much you could save. That is policygenius.com. Thanks everyone for hanging out with me today on Locked On Flames. Make sure you're following me on Twitter at Jess Belmosto. This is where I feel bad, because I'm sure Trevor Zegras is a lovely human being. I'm sure he's a good teammate. He seems like a nice guy. He's dating one of those TikTok girls, Dixie D'Amelio. Pretty sure. But I think the obvious answer, like right off the bat, why they shouldn't do it is the cost. I don't know I don't think it's realistic to give up some of your better prospects for Trevor Zegras, who has not had who hasn't proven himself in his 4 years in the NHL. And I know I am kind of contradicting myself here by saying, well, he hasn't had like established wingers or anything. Like he's been around all young people. Great. But what guarantees that he can do that here? That just because he does have those experienced veterans that he's going to pop off. He has 2 seasons left and he'll have the team control. And you're not going to be this super duper competitive team in these next 2 to 3 years. And like, I'm not even talking like Western Conference Finals competitive. I'm talking like making it out of the first round by more than just the skin of your teeth. So what is it going to cost you to get 2 years out of Trevor Zegras? And is this going to be like a Kachuk situation where he tells you once he reaches that summer before RFA or status that he wants a trade, he wants out. He doesn't want to, be a detriment. Or what if he doesn't even tell you? Matthew Kachuk had the courtesy to tell Brad Treliving. Some of these other players that have no loyalty to Calgary might not. And then you're just SOL once they reach UFA status. So, like, you don't really. It's good and it's bad. I personally don't think he'd want to go to Calgary. I think Calgary is further along in their little transition period than Montreal. Simply, do not yell at me in the comments, please. Simply because they do have older players and good goaltending. But Montreal will probably have a breakout year this year, right? And Flames will be bottom of the barrel, just the way things work. But he has friends in Montreal, and he's friends with Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki, Kirby Dach, and there's one more in Montreal that I'm just absolutely blanking out on. But no, I think that would be a more attractive situation to go to because you're obviously very familiar with the people there. I don't think that Trevor Zegras really knows anyone that's played in Calgary, playing on Calgary playing for, if I could get the right preposition, that would be great. But I don't think that this is something the Flames, it feels like a situation where they could be putting too many eggs in their basket, because what if they want, like, I don't know. You could get away with trading Jacob Pelletier. That was like a knife to the heart. Okay. I love Pelts. Pelts is one of my favorite prospects to cover. I'd probably do that. Okay, great. Do you want a draft pick too, or do you want a roster ready player? Because I don't know what their draft or their cap situation looks like. But do you need to take on a potentially $6 million contract to help reach the floor? I know a guy. Do you want an $11 million contract? Okay. Just have him waive something real quick. But no, like, in all seriousness, what is it going to cost you? Because if they want a first round draft pick, absolutely not. Well, actually, if you're not trading 28 to the 28th overall pick to New Jersey, sure. But other than that, you need to keep. You got to keep that. You got to keep that, because you're not gonna get rid of that 9th overall draft pick. Like, you're not doing that for Trevor Zegras. But the 28th, sure, okay. Maybe they don't even want draft picks. Maybe they want a roster ready player. What if they want Pospisil? They might be looking to add something to their, some speed, some nonsense, a menace, a good, really good player to their roster. You would be silly to do that. I don't think that a player like Trevor Zegras is in their long-term plan, because I don't think Trevor Zegras has a team like Calgary or the Ducks or the Sharks really in his sight. I don't, or Chicago. I don't think Chicago, maybe even Montreal. I think the only reason why you would be like more enticed to go to Montreal is because, number one, you're on the East Coast, so you're closer to your family. Number two, you're with friends. I'm pretty sure he is from the East Coast. I could very well be lying to you right now. He's from Bedford, New York. So yeah, that's a lot. You literally just take the Amtrak North Corridor up to Montreal. Or down, whatever you prefer. But it's just, I do not see a player like Trevor Zegras in the Flames long-term plan. In 2 to 3 years, if there's, a center that's really solidified himself, or that you feel like, I can fix him, sure, why not? But right now, I don't think you need to worry about adding a player that is just going to leave. Like, you're not looking to win anything right now. And not that Trevor Zegras is like this game-changing player. Like, it's absolutely going to like fix your team. Like, it's going to make a world of difference, and you can put this retool on pause. I'm afraid that that's what they think might happen, and that's where things could go. And we do not want that. We are not looking to sign. We're not looking to put a pause on things. We're not looking to put a Band-Aid on the bullet hole. We need to keep trucking. And I think that that is important to remember. I think we just need to draft some centers for right now. Unless, Sam Bennett, if you want to come home, Sam Bennett's not coming back to Calgary. I wouldn't, after the way he was treated. But anyways, I digress. I hope everyone is safe if you're listening in Calgary with that water main break. That's not fun at all. Stay safe. Please don't, you really don't need to go out and panic buy water or toilet paper, anything. Just be smart and conserve water. It happened here last year, so I'm unfortunately familiar with it. But yes, so would I be excited if the Flames traded for Trevor Zegras? Sure, depending on what the return to Anaheim was. Would I be fine if they didn't? Also, yes. I'm not in a position to say the Flames need to make some real game-changing moves. They just need to keep plugging along. Essentially, at the end of the day, that is what they need to do. But they need to do it smart and effectively. I hope everyone enjoys Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final on Saturday night. I do not know who you're rooting for, but I am not rooting for either team to win. I hope that everyone but Evander Kane has fun. So I will see you all on Monday. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay warm, stay hydrated, and remember to subscribe to Locked On Flames wherever you get your podcasts, and I'll see you Monday.